Vidya Balan is a class apart, whatever she does.
So, what does Sigma mean?
What?
Arey, Gen Z doesn't know. You're asking me skibidi.
Gibberish.
Oh. The problem is we upped our game, but the commercial cinema didn't match up.
Kahani happened as an accident.
Could make a film on Donald Trump, would it be action, comedy, horror, romance?
I would say horror comedy.
National crushes are temporary sometimes.
Hello, Bhavanipur. Welcome to this Screen Digital event. We have the first boy of Bengali cinema and the national crush of Bengal here with us. Welcome, Srijit. Welcome, Parambrata, in this conversation. Srijit, my first question would be to you. And starting off, like this is your 27th film, right? And you have, in your career, have made 8 web series too. And that apart, you have acted in films, mostly in cameos. Uh, and this has all been in 14 years, which is remarkable. So, how are you so prolific?
I guess, I mean, everything that I've done in life, I've done very like wholeheartedly. And I guess filmmaking and storytelling is no different. And another reason might be that I have a very efficient team. You know, sometimes it's also a collaboration. I mean, it is a collaboration, not sometimes. And you need a very good team who are in sync with you, who are on the same page. And I to still only make films. The guy sitting next to me, he makes films. He acts in films. He produces films. He writes. He designs so many things. So I think that's another way of doing what you love, doing the best, by having a team which supports you and has your back. And after that, of course, it is also a function of your internal productivity. Uh, I have been getting impregnated by ideas very regularly, and hence that kind of, I guess, explains the prolific output.
No, but what's a typical Srijit day like? You know, how many hours do you put in a day to work?
Uh, Definitely around 20, I think, because
Wow.
uh, I mean, it's not that I don't have a lot of things to do if I don't do this. I have my pets, and I have films, and I watch movies and series, and listen to music. So this is the only thing I do. So I do it for the most part of the day.
Your pets will get into later. Shiny has a question for you.
Um, it's really the right question to ask. A lot of us have always wanted to quit college for cinema, but you, Parambrata, did the exact opposite. You quit cinema. In 2009, you were already, well entrenched in the industry, doing a lot of stuff. You gave it up for college to study. So, how did that happen, and how's it going?
Well, it's interesting that you picked this up. That is kind of because this directly, I think, connects to or relates to my personality or also the journey that I've had so far. Um, I have always wanted to be a filmmaker and not an actor. I started acting as a bit of a hobby and also as something that was earning me a reasonably good amount of pocket money. Um, and I was very sure that I would quit that to pursue filmmaking, to go to a film school. But in 2001, when I was barely in my second year in college, when my father passed away, and I realized that this is not the right time to quit earning that, to stop earning that pocket money. So I continued with it, and I kind of became a household name on television. And I was very happy for the first 3 4 years, being self-sufficient and providing for the family as well in my little, however, with whatever I could. And there was a certain sense of stability which was setting in, and that is exactly what started becoming a bit of a problem very soon. By the time it was 2007, I was doing about 2 3 daily soaps, and so I just started thinking that, is this how my life is going to be for the next, what 30 years? Is this where it ends? Or or is there another, are there greener pastures, or are there other things to do, which I always thought of doing? I shall always be thankful to those years in television, because they taught me a hell lot, not just about, it didn't just only help me polish my skills as an actor, but also made me learn the job, the very craft of making films, hands on, and help me, now when I direct a film, I have like 5 6 plans, like A B C D E. And it was my days in television have taught me to have backup plans, basically, because on television you always need to get more done with less. But by the time it was 2007 8, I was feeling very suffocated and claustrophobic, and I wanted to travel, I wanted to see a bit more of the world, and I want to study a bit more. But I didn't want to go back to literature. I wanted to continue with what I was doing, and the best thing to do would be to study films, which I always wanted to do. But I also thought that, going to an Indian film school and spending about 3 4 years, that's a bit too long, because I do need to keep earning. So what should I do? And then I found out that a standard UK masters is 12 to 16 months. So yeah, that's the best thing to do. Okay, great. But then who's going to give me the admission? More importantly, who's going to give me the money to go and study? So I applied for a scholarship, and I applied with a lot of universities and colleges in the UK. And I chose the UK because getting a scholarship would be relatively easier. And thankfully, I got through a scholarship, a full scholarship, and I got to do what I wanted to do. And I think that's one of the best decisions I've ever taken. I've taken a lot of shit decisions in my life, but I think that's really one of the best decisions I've taken, because it really changed me as a person. It made me a lot more sorted, a lot more confident. It opened up the world to me. It made me a more exposed individual. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. But only thing is that when I was coming back, I did not want to continue actively with acting. I wanted to move sort of seamlessly into producing and directing, but that did not happen, because most of the big films of my career as an actor, I'm saying, happened, courtesy this man to my right and a few others, happened once I came back after completing my masters. So yes, it was a very strange call, strange decision, and people sort of thought that I've completely lost it. But I knew what I was doing, and I'm very glad that I did it.
Great. Your decision to continue acting obviously is a really bright silver lining. We just
I
saw
wasn't
the
talking about
excitement,
that though.
but we will come back to that because we'll talk about the movie now. Srijit, uh, tell us about Shotti Bole Shotti Kichu Nei, and I'll repeat that to make up. Shotti Bole Shotti Kichu Nei, 12 great actors and more, super cast, it's generating so much excitement already. Tell us about the making of the film, how you thought of it. Are you happy with what it's come out to be?
Yeah, so 14 great actors actually. There is also, apart from the 12 that we see in the trailer, there are also two great actors, Noor Aslam and Kaushik Kaur. Both of them are there in the cast. So this is obviously a classic text, which has like intrigued me for the longest time. And in 2006, I had adapted the original teleplay, 12 Angry Men, into this play called Mind Game in Bangalore. And it was in the same psychological space in which the film is. And interestingly, Gulshan Devaya played one of the key characters in that play, and me and Gulshan, we go back a long way. We used to do theatre together in Rangashankara. So, so that mind game, that play mind game was the beginning of my fascination with the text. And I had the first, so a lot of people ask, why is it called an adaptation of Ek Ruka Hua Faisla? So the first time this text came to me was through Bashu Chatterjee's film Ek Ruka Hua Faisla. That's the first time as a child kind of stumbled onto this incredible template, this incredible structure of storytelling where you have the interplay of 12 characters in a closed space and talking about just talking and arguing and debating, and which brings out the inner conflicts, the prejudices, the biases of the people. So I thought it was a fantastic structure. And of course then I saw all the adaptations around the world which has ever happened, and this is one of the most adapted texts, with all permutation combinations. Sometimes there are 12 women, sometimes there are 12 African American actors talking about racism and this and that. So any prejudice, any social issue, this is a very, very compliant storytelling structure. So after 2006, in 2010, after Autograph, I wrote the script and I pitched it to Rituda, who absolutely loved it. And this and Chotushkon were the two scripts which I worked on after completing Autograph. And he had agreed to act in both. He was excited by both the films. But then he passed away, and both the films went into the back burner. And then, strangely, in a very ironic twist of fate, when Chotushkon was revived, Param played the role which Rituda was supposed to play in Chotushkon. This film also, he's playing the role which was originally written keeping Rituda in mind. So, so that is kind of a very interesting historical significance. This casting twist, and apart from that, yes, after 2010, later, this story remained with me for the longest time. This particular text and narrative and interpretation remained with me. Recently, when I heard that Ek Ruka Hua Faisla was being remade in Bombay, that is when I got in touch with the makers and said that I have a own adaptation of mine for the longest time. So if you give us the rights, then we can remake it in our or adapt it in our way. So that's how it got revived. And then people ask me, how do you direct such wonderful actors? I don't. My job was primarily to get the dates and match the dates of these 12 terrific actors, but also extremely busy. So to get them together in one space, to make them do a kind of a rehearsal, that was another challenge, because these are thorough professionals who are, who generally don't do extensive rehearsals and workshops. Some of them are in principle also against the concept of a workshop because they feel it takes away the spontaneity of performance. But to convince them, put them together, and make sure that the coffee comes on time was my primary responsibility as a director. The rest, they just they were wonderful, and they just improvised and added so much to the script, to the text, and a film was born.
Srijit, Vasu Chatterjee's film was also an adaptation of Sidney Lumet's film. And both the films had 12 angry men on them. And from your trailer, I can make out that there are 2 female members of the jury, which is very refreshing, and thank you for that. But can you just walk us through that decision?
Yeah, so the thing is, so this was to begin with, this original text was a teleplay. In fact, Ek Ruka Hua Faisla was also originally a play for NSD. It was written by Anu Kapoor's brother, if I'm not much mistaken. So Bashuda saw that play and then decided to make the film out of the play. So it's very proscenium in its structure and its verbosity and everything. See, the main challenge for me was the jury system is no longer valid in India. So it's something which would have been quite anachronistic, because post 73 the jury system went out of vogue. And also I wanted to get into the mind space of lawmakers. So here, of course, we have taken up, and so there is no jury in this film. So these are not jury members; these are family members and friends and acquaintances of the main guy, who's going to take the decision or come up with a verdict. So I wanted to address that absence of jury in India, that issue. And B, I wanted to get into the mental space, the psychological space, because I have, as actually primarily a screenwriter, have realized that there are actually lots of voices in one's head, in oneself. We all of us here, to varying degrees, we suffer from multiple personality disorder. The personality which is sitting here is not going to be the same as the personality who's the same person, but the personality will differ when that person goes home, is with his or her parents or with friends or at workplace. So in any case, we have the personality switching trait inbuilt in us. That's how we survive the world. That's how we navigate through circumstances. And on the top of that, if you're a screenwriter, if your primary job is to create an universe where you are creating characters and you're creating stories, so there, to think about the motivation of those characters, you have to live a bit of those characters' lives yourself as well. So the moment that happens, you are split. You're split inside your head. You start living many lives and opinions and points of view yourself as well. So this psychological splitting is something which I wanted to use and exploit for the structure, which is why you have disparate people becoming voices in the person's head, the person who's actually going to take the decision.
But that apart, representation is also important for
Yes,
what I mean.
yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
yeah.
So now again, so now once you've established that splitting, which are the voices that you want to represent? Of course, there are gender issues which are addressed in the film, issues like child sexual abuse. So that is something which we kind of, so for that we needed representation from the other gender, and hence the 12 angry men became 10 angry men and 2 angry women. Very angry women.
How was your experience, Parambrata, working in this film? It's your 8th collaboration, is that right?
Is it eight? Eighth or ninth? I don't know.
Yeah, I think 8th or 9th.
Eighth
Yeah.
or ninth, probably, yeah. So
When you
actually,
collaborate, very often you lose count. Sorry.
yeah. So I actually wasn't supposed to be a part of this film. So I knew about this film being made, and at different stages, I was offered different jurors. And I had lost sort of count or track of what I was offered, which one I was offered at which point in time. And I still remember it was the month of sometime in March or something. And Srijit and I, we maybe early April probably, and I knew he was shooting the film uh, in June, and I was leaving soon after in April to shoot for a Hindi film in Gujarat, and so we met, and he told me this. Look, I thought about it. I know that I had offered you this and that, J1, or one of the characters. And I was fairly sure that which are the ones which I would like to do, which I would want to do, and those two or three characters which I thought I would want to do. Apart from them, I didn't want to do any other part. So I'm not going to say which are the other ones. Apart from the one that I've ended up playing, I surely wanted to play that. Apart from that, there were two other characters which I thought I could have played. Then he's told me that no, I don't think this is working out. So let's work on that, which is another thing which we are actually about to start on very soon. So I said, okay, fair enough, no problem. And then
Why won't you tell us which are the other two characters? I mean, why won't you give us those viral moments?
so I'll tell you what. Yeah, okay. Let me just give it away. Give them away actually. So I thought I would want to play either the one that Kaushikda plays, which would have been a bit tough because it needed somebody older. On that note, I have to thank Miss Agarwal, I think, who was doing the bit of introduction right before we took the stage, for introducing me as the very young. That very young bit really uh, touched my heart. Yes, touched the right chord at my age. Yeah, because I'm not that young anymore, but I always love being called very young, just for the records. So anyway, coming back to yeah, Kaushik Da is evidently visibly older than me, and it needed that part needed an older actor, so I knew that I probably wouldn't fit that well. The other part that I thought I could have played and I would have wanted to play is the one that Ritik plays, right? So, so anyway, I just leave for Gujarat, and then I'm shooting there for a month or so, and suddenly I get a call from Srijit and says, "How are you placed between this date of June to that date of July?" I said, "Oh, you finished shooting for this film?" I said, "No, it's for that only." I said, Why again? I mean, what is happening? Hello." I thought we have had like n number of conversations as to why I should do the film and then why I should not be doing this film. So I said, "No, I think I might as well have you." I said, "Somebody's backed out, right?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, great. Okay, no problem." So, and then I came back to Calcutta, and I didn't even want to know who backed out because it keeps happening. There are many occasions when I have backed out of a film, not just his, but many other films. One of my colleagues have stepped in, so that happens. So, and I just read the part, I read the whole script, and I thought this was a film that I would like to be a part of because, mainly because of the fact that I've spent more than 2 decades as an actor, and in the last 2 or 3 years there has been a conscious shift um, in terms of my focus, and that has been towards directing and producing a little bit more, or a little bit more frequently than before, because after working as an actor for more than 20 years, for more than 2 decades, you do get a little tired of doing similar kind of roles, and then you want to kind of pick and choose those or such roles which actually challenge you, which posit challenges in front of you. Otherwise you don't feel like just walking into a film and
I want to ask both of you because you've both been in the industry for years, decades, as you said, and both of you are working really hard at giving Bangla cinema an identity that is not how it is perceived in the rest of India. For example, Anurag Kashyap recently used the word ghatia when he was talking about Bangla cinema in comparison with other regional cinema. And since both of you are experimenting so much with the kind of cinema you make, and you have a unique perspective, why do you think commercial Bangla cinema is where it is today, that it is perceived to be ghatia?
sorry, can I answer this first? Yeah. I think that is because we stopped focusing on it. We stopped concentrating on commercial Bengali cinema. And I have been saying this for the past few years, and I have been almost like frowned upon for saying this because I'm also, people perceive me as a poster boy of the alternate kind of Bengali cinema. But I have always believed that if mainstream cinema in a particular industry doesn't work, um, then it's very difficult to make any other kind of films because the audience size, only if it's big you can eat out of that. It is our kind of cinema also thrives on a bit of surplus. So if there is no steady inflow, then there is no surplus. First you have to ensure the inflow. So, and I think there was a sort of an alienation that happened early in 2011 12 10 11 12 while Bengali cinema in general was seeing a resurgence of sorts through filmmakers like Anjan Datto, Srijit, Kaushik Da, Kamaleshwar Mukherjee, and a lot of others. And very, very important middle road Bengali films were being made. Suddenly, the attention from making big mass entertainers was taken off, and very loosely made, very carelessly made South remakes were sort of dished out to the masses as like, as if this is like, take this as your sort of cup of tea, or take this as your menu, which I don't think the audience reacted to very well. And soon afterwards they found the same films to be airing, the same films being aired on national channels dubbed in Hindi. So they didn't have to really go back and watch these cheap Bengali remakes of the South films. So they got sort of vexed with Bengali mainstream cinema and turned away from Bengali cinema in general. So the the audience size for Bengali cinema kept reducing. So a big chunk of West Bengal, if I may use the word ROB, rest of Bengal, they don't watch Bengali films. They don't care about Bengali films because they feel that nobody cares about them. And I think it is very important that these big mass entertainers, no matter who makes them, it's not necessary that I make them or Srijit makes them. No, there can be others. But it's very important that these big entertainers, big scale entertainers are made and they fetch money and they get proper releases and they make money so that all other kinds of cinema, especially our kind of films, get to be made. I mean, there has to be a coexistence. Otherwise, an industry cannot thrive, holistically speaking.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I generally don't attend, events with Porom is we think so much alike that after he says whatever he has to say, I have nothing new to add. And that is exactly what I would have said uh, in a slightly more Bengali accent, possibly. But otherwise, the boktobbo remains the same. So I have nothing new to add apart from an example of this that I agree with him so much so that in December, when a film, a Masi film after a long time from Dev, who's one of the biggest superstars of Bengal called Khadan, was releasing, I went full out promoting the film, and people were asking me, "Why are you doing this? This is not even your kind of cinema." I said, "My kind of cinema can only thrive if films like Khadan are made, and the size of the pie, the size of the cake, the share, it goes up. And then producers will not tell us, uh, can you do this film in 12 days? Then I'll have more days to shoot. My comfort level, my budgets will go up, and that will only happen when the industry health, the financial health of the industry as a whole will increase, and that can only happen with films like Khadan, which is a great news. And that's one of the biggest game changers of last year, and great news that if made well, if projected, mounted well, if promoted well. For example, they did a ROB tour, the rest of Bengal tour on a bus, which kind of sent out the message that we care. We care about you. We care about the films that you want to watch. So there's a fantastic initiative by Dev, and which is why I was supporting Khadan so much. So I was wearing Khadan T-shirt to other film premieres, and people were raising eyebrows. But the point is that is exactly the thing that I will, if I champion a cause, I will wear it on my sleeve. So that is essentially what I feel.
Srijit, you don't get away with just saying that. All I had to say, Parambrata already said. I remember a prominent Tollywood commercial director saying that it's because of Srijit that you know um, our kind of cinema didn't is not getting that attention. So, do you feel, as you said, the rest of Bengal, and I think another film also Bohurupi, which also focuses on rest of Bengal. So, do you think that is going to be the focus now or that is the answer?
Definitely, that is the answer. But I would not say focus. I think an industry should focus on all kinds of films. I mean, there is room or space for everyone. And that prominent Tollywood director who said that Srijit is responsible, I plead guilty, absolutely. And 2000, after Autograph happened, and that was a very interesting thing because on the day of Autograph, Dui Prithivi, another film released with Jeet and Dev as the the lead, and eventually in terms of everlasting popularity, Autograph overtook Dui Prithivi, and that kind of ushered in an entire new kind of Bengali cinema. And of course, me, Anjunda, Kaushik Ganguly, Kamaleshwar Mukherjee, Moinak, Bisha, Protein, the entire new, But so the problem is we upped our game, but the commercial cinema didn't match up. Now that frankly is not our fault. I mean, you can't blame us. You can't blame the media also that you kept on writing about them. No one wrote about us. I think everyone wrote about Khadan. So you have to make something for people to write about, right? So media was writing about Autograph and Bhutar Bhavishot and Baishe Sravon and Hemlock Society and Chander Pahar and Alekti Premar Golpo, because these were quality films which captured the imagination of the audience. Now, for the other kind of cinema, you had to come out of your, lazy habit of remaking South Indian films frame by frame, and had to give something original or indigenous, like let's say a Kantara or a Pushpa, where your own, folk myths, your folk cultures, those are invoked, and that is the way to do it. And that is how Khadan has worked. Why did, for me, for in my analysis, why did Khadan work? Because Khadan wasn't about a generic guy beating up generic villains in a generic dockyard or a generic garage. There was absolute exact positioning, geopolitical positioning. Okay, these are coal mines. In this area, these are the politics. So you have to become specific. You have to, and imagine, again, there's another reading of it. After years, you have a leading man or a protagonist by the surname Mahato, to come out from that elite Bhadralok class to actually get into a protagonist who will depict the downtrodden, or will become the voice of the underdog. That was also a very, very critical and a very interesting move by the writers of the film. Then you're placing it geographically at a specific region. You're capturing the language, the custom, the accent of that region, maybe with embellishment, maybe with larger than life commercial trappings, but you're doing it nevertheless. All this stopped in 2000, from 2010 to 15. All this stopped. Then 2015 saw the emergence of Shibu, with his brand of films, which concentrated on 50 plus, 60 plus audience, their insecurities, their failings, their emotions, uh, their melodrama. So with each and every reinvention of genre, Bengali film slowly moved away, far away from the commercial film which we are discussing, and very rightfully we are, locating them to be the core of the financial health of an industry.
In all fairness, so one little thing here. This gentleman or the director that you're talking about, our very dear friend, he actually, I feel, he was one of the very rare ones amongst the people who were, and that is why I think his angst is a bit justified. But he was probably the only one amongst the people making these so-called South remakes who tried to bring on board some kind of originality, at least tried to place those narratives, those stories from the South Indian films into, like, giving them a proper, like, adaptation, adapting it to a Bengali setting, whereas the others who are, I mean, qualitatively were far, far, far behind him, honestly, as per my humble judgment, and not so humble judgment. Clearly, they were just doing a copy paste of exact. Even the microphone colors were also had to match. If there was a political rally being shot, even the color of this muff had to match with the southern film. Whereas this dear friend of ours who we're talking about, I've been working with him. He's been a friend for a very long time. Srijit's friend as well. He at least tried to do it his own way, and that is why I think his angst is a bit justified than the others.
Also, he did films like Proloy, which actually was, those were films which actually needed to be celebrated. Those films needed to be, not only celebrated, repeated. So when he didn't get that support, when he actually made films,
Okay. I think we should just
Yeah.
bring this back to.
it's a very, very,
your film.
very emotional topic for all of us, because all of us are friends, and
Absolutely.
we kind of feel
Absolutely.
very strongly about,
No, totally. So let us bring in focus back to your films and your film. Your latest one has, from the trailer at least we can make out, touches upon, and you yourself confess, touches upon a lot of issues, including, from what I can make out, child sex abuse, gender, and also queer, and so yeah. So if you could tell us, like, what are the things that you wanted to, did you want to make it a issue-based film, as they're called nowadays?
not really. That's something I do not I mean, I do not adhere to, because I think that films organically, issues should come out, questions should come, debates should follow films. Like debates actually happen inside us. And this is actually, the film is about a debate which happens inside a person. And in these debates, you have conflicting voices, and through those voices, organically, issues, like you said, there's child sexual abuse, there is gender issues, there's this question of language, linguistic outsiders versus, bohiragato, as they say. Those issues come up. Of course, religion comes up, communalism comes up, secularism comes up. Then there are issues of homophobia which come up, and how it can, percolate or creep into even the sanest and the most so-called emancipated minds of our times. So all these things, they come into the thing, but none of them are, on the face that, okay, so these are pamphlets of these issues being distributed in the cinema hall. No, we do not do pamphlet distribution. We tell stories, and out of the stories, if organically these issues emanate, I think that is where our job is done.
A follow-up question on that, in the film, as you said, Parambrata plays Rituparna Ghosh's character, and it's probably, from what I can make out, a queer character. And in this day and age of political correctness, would you not have, did you worry about the reaction you will get for not letting a queer person play a queer character, which is so obviously effeminate?
Yeah, so I was in two minds about casting either Shujoy or Porom for the role. Because Shujoy is a friend of mine.
Chatterjee.
Prasad Chatterjee, yeah. And I've worked with him before in Shahjahan Regency.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. So we also have to keep in mind, in the day and age of political correctness, you do need an actor. A person who is just queer but is not that great an actor as to match up to the rest of the cast. That would have been a problem. That would have been compromising just to be politically correct. But then Shuja is a good actor. I've worked with him and I can vouch for him. But then the problem came of having a commercial feasibility to the entire setup, because again, our industry, financial health is absolutely down in the dumps. I struggle every day. Being a A-lister, being an A-lister in this industry, to get decent budgets to shoot films. So, which is why I've stopped. I've publicly announced that I will not make Feluda anymore, because the kind of budgets which were starting to come, you cannot make a Feluda who travels all around India. It's just impossible. So, given the state of the industry, given the financial health of the industry, I needed to ensure a kind of commercial feasibility. And Porom, apart from being a great actor, is also, unfortunately true, is commercially more feasible as a face than Shuja. Shuja will kill me for this. I mean, he's going to pummel me and kill me, and but the fact of the matter is that, and I had no other options to actually to mount the film to us at a certain level, to get the production budget, to get the number of days of shoot, the minimum basic number of days of shoot which I require for this. If we've seen the locations, it's not actually a chamber drama anymore. It has been, put out there. So, and of course, this is an argument Shuja doesn't agree with, but that is what we kind of went with, and that is how Porom was cast. But if he had to go by the original cast, it was Rituda, to be fair, who again was a great actor, was commercially feasible, and who was, by this sexual orientation, the correct choice for the.
We've had this conversation about the queer character, which I think has also taken up a lot of the discourse that's happened since the trailer released. One quick question to you before I want to ask you about your experience playing that, but what's been the feedback to the trailer, and specifically to the queer character in the trailer?
It's been quite overwhelming, apart from one person who found it caricaturish. I think rest of the feedback has been very, very promising, and a lot of people have actually written to me. A lot of them are queer themselves. They're saying that thank God at least we've started somewhere. I mean, a protagonist is a queer character, and we've started somewhere. Though I reminded them that do not forget Ditiyo Purush, where my Khoka, or the the iconic character played by Anirban, he was also he was not effeminate, but he was queer. So here it's a combination of both, and see, I also feel that that's also kind of, the word caricaturish means that you have a heteronormative yardstick of uh, effeminate quotient in your mind. If you're not matching, if you're going over that, you're becoming caricaturish. If you're going under that, it's underplaying. So now this yardstick is something which is very, very subjective. I mean, it differs from person to person. And I have friends who are at various yardsticks, various level of their, if you call it the effeminate quotient. Uh, Now that in that spectrum, Shotto, the character, my protagonist, I have placed him somewhere, and we had a long discussion about this also, that we had placed him somewhere in the middle of that spectrum. Maybe for cinema or for the underlining or for the emphasis, maybe that positioning is slightly, towards the extreme rather than the underplaying bit. But that is purely from a cinematic craft perspective. But I have seen Shotto. I have met Shotto. There are lots of friends amongst my friend circle who speak like Shotto, and they're absolutely okay with that. And it's I find it very normal. I do not. In fact, the fact that it's meriting a separate discussion, that itself is slightly disappointing for me. I mean, I don't think it's actually something which should be discussed separately, because it is normal, right?
Param, this is for you. Basically, when one thinks of you as a pan-Indian actor, and you have been one thinks of you as someone who's very sensitive, the Bengali man who is sensitive, who is desirable, and you've managed to collaborate with some of the most popular Bollywood leading ladies, and you've played supportive characters to them in the most remarkable way, including Vidya Balan, Ravina Tandon, and now the latest national crush, Tripti Dimri in Bulbul. If you could tell us about your, journey, which has been actually more than a decade, right? We're doing films all over in Bollywood and, mostly Bollywood. And here, if you could tell us more about that.
I'll quickly go back to, I think, what Shani wanted to ask about. Like, I think it was part of her question.
Oh, yes,
The
yeah, I'm so
second
sorry.
aspect
Yeah,
of
yeah,
of a question. I'm just gonna come back and refer to that because, so I didn't know about the fact that Rituda was offered this particular part, or even Shujoy was being considered. When Srijit and I spoke, I came to know that, and I went back home and I said that, okay, I get to play an effeminate character. And my wife kept staring at me like this. Fortunately, unfortunately, I've been married to a person who is a social slash mental activist. So you know my plight. So I cannot use certain terms at home. Certain terms are not to be used. There's a saying in Bengali, "Onaden tenaden naam korte nahi." So it's almost like that. So I was like, okay, why are you looking at me? And she said, you can't use that word. I said, okay, how do I kind of describe what it is? There's a word for it. I said, yeah, wow, what is the word? It's traditionally feminine. I said, every time I'm going to say, like in a
No,
conversation,
I have to learn this also.
traditionally feminine, traditionally or conventionally feminine.
In place of effeminate.
Yes, right.
Acha, okay.
Huh. I said, every time I'm talking, if I have to really treat that, yes, that's what you are expected to do. I said, all right, let's just stop it here. I'm better listen to her just for the sake of domestic bliss. So, and peace. So I was very aware, I was very conscious of where to draw a line. But having said that, what he was trying to actually point at, or he was trying to, kind of arrive at, see, we only have 2 hours in a film. Also, in this particular film, the narrative is not solely about this character. It's about many other prejudices. It's about many other characters. If a film is being made, and if I'm made a part of it as an actor, if the film itself is entirely about a queer character, or a character which is conventionally slash traditionally feminine, then I would actually probably tone this one down a bit and focus a little more on the nuances, making it more nuance driven. But here, you have to play it as a mix of nuance and popular perception, because you only have a little more than 2 hours to drive your point home. So the sexual orientation bit of Shotto barely gets any time uh, to be discussed. It's completely a different thing that is being discussed here. So if I go into making it, if I go into digging deep into the nuances of his sexual orientation, then what Shotto represents in this motley crew of 12 people will not be communicated properly. So it has to be also a part of it. Part of my playing also has to have a bit of playing to the gallery. You know what I mean? Otherwise, the message won't be communicated. I'm not sure this sort of. I have still managed to communicate what I'm trying to say to a lot of people, but this is the best I could do, and that is why it is in my understanding, it is a mix of nuance-driven sort of portrayal, and sort of playing along the perception of the lowest common denominator from amongst the audiences.
Okay, so
Oh yeah, now your question. Yeah, sorry.
About
Yeah,
about
sorry. What was that
about
again?
your tryst with Bollywood and all these lovely leading ladies like
Uh,
Vidya Balan
no,
who
the
debuted
lovely
with you.
the
Yeah,
ladies are all lovely. There's no doubt about that. But they always are. But the twist with Bollywood bit. So after Kahani released, everyone thought that I'm gonna,
yeah,
I've packed my bags from here and
absolutely.
I'm moving to Mumbai, which I did not do because I had no intention of doing it. Kahani happened as an accident. My actual stint in Bollywood started, I think, in 2019, um, and interestingly, it only expanded and sort of became more and more frequent during the 2 phases of COVID, for that matter. Um, because a lot of OTT, very potent OTT content was being made at that point in time. So 2019, when I sort of actually 18 onwards, I would say, like Pari, Bulbul, Ram Prasad Ki Tervi, and then going forward, Aranya, Kaun, Praveen Tambe, and Jugadistan, and others. So yes, the tryst has been lovely, but I still am not based out of Bombay. I do have a small apartment in Mumbai, which I share with a friend of mine. It's on rent. I've not bought anything there. I didn't have the money. But even there, the focus has been to emerge, or to get a footing as a content creator more than an actor. Um, and I accept anything that is interesting as an actor, irrespective of whether it is the central role in a Bollywood project, as long as it's exciting for me, because the focus again is on creating content eventually for the national audience.
okay, so
Oh,
we'll move to the rapid fire round
yes, because this
because
is the post Coffee with current world,
yeah,
and we have a
yeah.
section on rapid fire.
We had a long list prepared, but we're going to cut that down to the
Yeah.
five most fun questions.
We can have 10.
I,
Yeah,
yeah,
really fun
I
questions.
will ask Parambrata, and you can ask Srijit, right?
Who's going first?
You choose.
Is there a hamper?
You have you will have beautiful hampers ready. Yeah,
Ah,
sure.
lovely. Okay.
So yeah, choose. Do you want to go first, Paro?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Vidya, Ravina, Tripti, Anushka rate in terms of talent.
Like ascending order, or
Yes.
like from the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's going to be. So say the names again. I'm so sorry.
Vidya, Ravina, Tripti, Anushka.
Tripti, Ravina, Anushka, Vidya.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you
I could hear a lot of sighs.
I mean, it is what it is, mate. I'm sorry. National crushes are temporary sometimes. Yeah.
okay.
Class is permanent, as you say. Yeah, yeah. I mean, no offense meant. Sorry. Yeah. তারপর বৌদির ফ্যানেরা কি জানো what is she called again? Bhabhi 2. Bhabhi 2 এর
Oh yes,
ফ্যানেরা,
of course. Yeah.
and she's absolutely lovely and she's a very nice girl and I really get along with her. But you know, I mean, she still has miles to go. I mean, she's a very, very young entrant into the industry and she's going to improve a lot. But Vidya, I mean, sorry to say, I mean, she is a class apart. Vidya Balan is a class apart. Whatever she does, she is something else. Yeah.
Okay. JU or Pressy?
This is the trick question because I always wanted to be in Pressy, but I ended up being in JU. So
Good one.
yeah.
Nice.
Well, I'm gonna go with JU. Yeah.
Okay. Manjumal Boys or Pushpa 2?
Manjumal Boys.
Okay. Now we have some Gen Z words which you will tell me the meanings of. Since we are in Bhawanipur and this is a Gen Z college.
Since we're in Bhawanipur and I'm a borderline boomer. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So what does Sigma mean?
What? Sigma? Boss. এটা বাড়াবাড়ি হয়ে গেছে মানে আমি বলছি হ্যাঁ
Okay. আচ্ছা,
High quality.
we will yeah, you don't get to answer.
I mean, I'm not a borderline boomer. I am a boomer, but it doesn't mean I don't get to answer.
Okay, then we move to the next one, sus.
Sus is like sussing someone out, like checking, like something like that.
Riz.
Huh?
I suspect that is wrong.
Yeah. What is this now?
Riz.
Riz is charisma.
You don't get to do it.
I don't know. Seriously,
I didn't know.
I didn't know. It is
I had my eyes on the hamper.
রিজ বলতে শুধু রিজ খানকে চিনি আমি আর
কারিজমা
So you have
ওরা
failed
এখন
miserably.
ব্যাপারটাকে ছোট করে দিচ্ছে বুঝছো?
হ্যাঁ কিন্তু
Charisma
সেটা
র
তো
care মাটাকে বাদ
জ্ঞান
দিয়ে-
আর মাটা বাদ দিয়ে
বাদ,
গেছে এটা তো
risk,
রিজটাই কেন শুধু
risk.
ওটাই হচ্ছে ব্যাপার হ্যাঁ
Okay, finally, puchka or biryani?
ফুচকা or biryani any day. Yeah. ডাল ভাত actually more
Srijit,
importantly.
it's finally your turn.
Yeah.
And Parambrata is not allowed to answer. So,
Did I get the vibe right?
yeah.
Okay.
Full marks.
Go on.
Jishu or Parambrata?
As what?
Good answer. Vidya Balan or Sushmita Sen?
I will keep on saying as what if you don't give me a qualifier. I mean, as an actress or as a producer or
Actor.
Actor. Vidya and
Sushmita
Vidya
Sen.
or Sushmita Sen. Vidya.
Okay. And Jishu or Parambrata?
As an actor,
Yes.
Porom.
Okay.
See, I'll tell you something. Porom, my greatest grudge is that in all the brouhaha about his directorial this, that, and there's so many things, people forget he's a damn good actor. And as a director, I know how important it is to have an intelligent actor when you're, and he, to be fair, he's the Rahul Dravid of my team. You know, whenever there's crisis, Porom, Shon.
You use him like a stepney.
No, yeah. So, I mean, what? So it's like, man, if I had to have someone to bat for my life, I will be going to Porom because, so suppose the lead actor or someone has backed out 24 hours before the shoot. Shon Porom, একটা ঘটনা ঘটেছে বুঝলি? So he knows what is coming. So he's bailed me out on so many occasions, it's not funny. I mean, be it Shahjahan Regency, be it Chotushkon, be it even Shotti Bole Shotti Kichu Nei. But there is a reason why I go to him. Going to him means that you can concentrate on the production design. You can concentrate on other actors. You do not have to concentrate on him because he comes prepared, fully done homework, gives me options. For even in this case, he would give me, you want it to the extent of being traditionally feminine to that extent, or traditionally feminine to this extent. So it gives me a buffet of options as an actor, which is, I can't tell you how huge that is for a director in terms of being a luxury. So, in terms of crisis, I always go to Param. And between Jishu and Param, uh, Jishu can be for a particular role better than Param. But overall, if you're talking about an actor, you know what I look in an actor, there I would say Param. Yeah.
Great. I'm sorry to cut this short, but it is a rapid fire round.
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
yeah.
Didn't mean that
Presi or
rapid.
JU?
Sorry,
Presidency or Jadavpur?
presidency or?
Jadavpur
I
University.
can't, I don't understand. Presi or?
Economics Honors Presidency College.
If you're saying Presi, that sentence cannot have other options.
Anything else in it?
You can say Presi as college or Presi as university, Presi canteen or Presi class. What is this Presi or some? I can't hear you, sorry.
Fine, we will move on.
Yeah.
If you could make a film on Donald Trump, would it be action, comedy, horror, romance?
I would say horror comedy.
Okay, your turn for Gen Z, Gen Alpha dictionary.
Haven't I already got the hamper? I cracked Riz.
Last question. Dilulu.
I am not under any delulu that I know this answer. Of course, delusion. Yeah.
This is something that I actually knew.
Delusion.
Next one. Spilling the tea.
Sorry.
Spilling the tea.
Spilling the tea is, I mean, gossip. I mean, these are simple ones. You know?
Skibidi.
Huh?
Skibidi.
Skibidi. What is skibidi?
Sounds like CBD oil, but it's not.
Are Gen Z doesn't know. You're asking me skibidi.
Gibberish.
Oh.
Okay,
What does it
good
mean?
time to
Gibberish.
move to the next round. Are we ready for the photo round?
Photo round.
Yeah.
What
While,
is?
while we discuss Skibidi. We'll get
So the photo round is basically where we dig into your social media profiles and we take out pictures that we think define your, what you've been doing, your journey over the years. And
For
your,
me, can it be audio? Because I'm visually not.
no,
very-
yours is memes
Oh,
mostly.
acha, okay.
So,
Bang on.
and for Parambrata, it's much. There's actually a journey for you. It's
Mostly memes, yeah.
which you yourself share, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Do
I
you
know.
make them yourself?
No. I don't. I wish I could. If I had the time, I would love to. But unfortunately, I'll just have to share and, be happy about it.
Supposed to check out the pictures and tell us a brief history about them, so that and then we'll move on to the audience question, because I can see the audience getting
Right.
restless.
So we see it here?
You see it there.
Oh, there.
You
Okay,
can see
yeah,
it there. Yeah. Can we have the first photo, please?
Yes, tell me.
So yeah, I mean, you are there with Imtiaz Ali, the most celebrated heartbreak filmmaker, and someone shared a meme saying the creators of my love life. So you have
Tell us
anything
what
to
it
say about
means.
that?
So I have not made as many love stories as Imtiaz in any case, but even quite apart from that, my love stories have always been very, interspersed with serial killing mostly. So if the person who's made this meme, I have to say she or he, I don't know, has a very violent love life. So that's all I can
Okay,
say.
moving on. Can we have the next
Next
photo,
one.
please?
Oh, this was, actually, this is a beautiful picture which I have framed at home, again, on a wall in my bedroom, in our bedroom. This is my mom and my dad with me. I was exactly 11 years old, not even, 10 years something. And we were on a trip to Puri. When you go to Puri as a Bengali family, then the very second day morning, you are spanked out of your bed to leave like at 5 a.m. in the morning on a day trip to Konarak and to Bhubaneswar, Lingaraj temple, what not. So by the end, by the time you're back, you're like half dead. So this was a pit stop at Konarak, I remember. Yes.
The next photo, please. Explain.
Okay, so this is me and Ananto. Ananto is leucistic ball python. Post 2020, when the government of India made the keeping of exotic pets legal, I had this childhood dream of having a snake as a pet. So that kind of
But
materialized.
I have a little something to add here. It's not one snake, it's 24 now.
That's-
Did
And
you say 24
yeah, I have
snakes?
refused to go to
24
his
snakes.
place anymore. And last time I went there, which was about a month ago, I came back with severe psychosomatic stomach upset because you cannot have 24 snakes looking at you from inside different cages at different corners of the house. So whenever somebody would move, I would see a snake like gaping at me like it's important. And I'm not particularly fond of snakes, I have to say. If I had more contacts in Delhi, which unfortunately I do not have, I would have tried to sort of repeal that little whatever act of exotic pets or
Exotic
whatever.
Pet
Yeah.
Act, yeah. No, but so Ananto accompanied me to a particular recce. So we were just checking out the locations, and he's nice.
Basically scaring people out of locations. Yeah, clearly.
No,
Yeah.
no, he's very docile and he's very he's an absolute sweetheart actually.
Okay, the next photo, please.
Yes. This is that it at that in the heart of that place which Srijit refused to sort of pronounce, but which happens to be a very popular and a very acclaimed university. যেটার নাম যাদবপুর University, of which I used to be a student, and very proudly so. And it actually ranks uh, better than the one which was named more frequently during this session, as per international and national rankings, just for the record.
NAC rankings.
অত না অত ন্যাকামিতে যাচ্ছি না, আমি জাস্ট বলছি যে আমি বলছি যে এটা র্যাঙ্কস বেটার ওভারঅল ইন জেনারেল। আর তার ইন দ্য হার্ট অফ ইট ইজ মিলনদার ক্যান্টিন, যেখানে আমরা ভীষণ যেতাম, আমি when I used to be a student, and to have lunch, to amble away time, having cups of tea. এইটা হচ্ছে before the release of a film of mine called Bodhi Canteen. And we were visiting, we were doing some food vlog kind of thing. This is ওর নামটা ভুলে যাচ্ছি আমি, he's a very popular food vlogger. We were doing a little collab with him, and I chose Milandar Canteen as the venue because I wanted to go back. Milanda is no more, Bodhi runs the place, and it was a very emotional few hours with her.
Just a question after, because you mentioned it was for a promotion of your film. You have another film coming out right now, which has two of the most prominent, directors come actors
Yes.
of Bengal, Aparna Sen, Anjan Datto. And,
Yes, it's a film called Ei Raat Tomar Amar, which is releasing on the 31st of January. Mane Agami Kal, tomorrow, our film is releasing, which is Shotti Bole Shotti Kichu Nei, which is directed by Srijit, of course. The week after that, this film is releasing, Ei Raat Tomar Amar. It's a film about an elderly couple, one night, it's the 50th anniversary, their 50th anniversary, and that's about it. It's what we call in cinematic and dramatic parlance a chamber drama, and it has been one of the most fulfilling experiences as a filmmaker, to have directed Anjanda and Rinadi on screen, and trying to capture the realities of an age group, of an age bracket that I'm yet to reach. But it's also in a way a tribute to my parents, my deceased parents, and I tried to imagine how they would have been if they were alive and they managed to complete 50 years of being together. So that releases on the 31st of January. Yes, thank you.
lovely. Please do go and watch this beautiful film. The next slide, please. Tell us about this moment captured, very intense moment, yeah. With
Dave, yes. So I was just explaining the scene to him, and I was saying what are the things that he should keep in mind, what are the things he should avoid. Though I have to say that, so we worked first time in Zulfikar. And after that, in Tekka, I found a whole new actor actually, because I think he's evolved so much. And this entire process, right now, it's like I'm talking to him, but in reality, he was talking to me as well. And we actually mutually kind of discussed the character, put in traits, put in certain nuances, and which is something which is any director's dream, to have that kind of a conversation. So I was very, very happy with my working experience with Dave.
There's also Ramani's daughter who is looking
Yeah.
like, when is lunch break?
Okay. Do we have any more slides? I think that's it.
No, there are.
There are?
some
Okay.
more, yeah.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
How could you miss this?
Sorry. I'm really sorry.
This is on the very last day of the grueling schedule for Aranyak. Very, very, very last day in Mumbai. This is February 2021. Yes, exactly. And I wrapped, and Ravina still had about a day or two to go, I think. Yeah, so we thought we should do it. We were like cast as these very 2D glam cops. So we thought of taking. There's no glam on me here, but come on, man, it's Ravina Tandon. So we've sort of grown up with her.
Did you also grow up dancing to Cheeseberry
Not
MS?
exactly dancing, but
Yes, just say yes.
just say, yeah, well, not dancing, but then you know what I mean. Yeah. So being very much wanting to be in Akshay Kumar's place. Let's put it this way. So yeah, so we had to take a glam photo. So this was as far as we could go in terms of taking a glam photo together.
Okay, great. I think that was our last slide. But the audience has been great. They have some questions, I believe. So can I see hands up if anybody wants to ask Srijit or Parambrata anything?
You've got a first question.
So my question is from Srijit sir.
Can you just introduce yourself before?
I'm Barsha from Journalism Honors, first semester. Sir, what was the challenges and opportunity of directing a film like Shotti Bole Shotti Kichu Nei, which features the enable cast of 14 talented actors? How did you balance the creative needs and egos of such a large and talented cast?
See, the essence of doing films which are multi-starrers or an ensemble is that the script has to be fair. Because at the end of the day, whatever, we might be great friends and there might be other actors who are great friends, but at the end of the day, actors are very selfish people. Even like directors, like for directors, the film comes first and script comes first. For actors, their role comes first, and the scope of their performance comes first. So you have to write a script which is balanced, which has enough meat for everyone, so that no one feels that one's not getting enough space to showcase their craft. So once you ensure that, once you ensure the dates fall in place, and that was almost like a linear programming problem, with these 12 people, everyone busy most of the time, matching their dates and then convincing them for that rehearsal, that 1 month of sitting and going through the script together, table read as Bombay calls it, and all that. So, but to do that, to get attuned to each other, once these three things were done, and I achieved these three things, on the shoot it was a cakewalk, because these guys are so good. You just need to say action, then you watch them, and then you say cut. So that's how it kind of.
Thank you. Next question.
Good evening, sir. I'm Suchetan from BCom Honors Semester 5. So my question is, how difficult was it to situate the setting of the debate like in the middle of the sea, and also if you could describe the experience a bit?
The sea bit.
Yes, sir, in the middle of the sea.
You want the questions for him, right?
Yes, sir, my question is for Srijit, sir.
So it was. I wasn't there in the middle of the sea, because I had to sit with the monitor and everything. But I was on the edge of the sea, and they were in the middle. And the difficult bit was the sea was moving further and further away. And we had to keep on shifting the chairs, because obviously one take would take a bit of time, and by the time the waters would have receded. So the only thing is that there was a pole which marked the danger area beyond which you were not supposed to go. So the last stop was like 2 inches from that pole. And then Kaushik Ganguly, he said that এরপর গেলে কিন্তু ডাবিং করতে পারবো না, which essentially means that beyond this, if we go, you will not be available for post production, because we'll all be in hospital or whatever. So it, not even that. No, but it was quite difficult. But then, which is why you have such stunning visuals. That's one of the reasons why we could pull off such an iconic scene and scenes actually in these locations.
I just want to add a little bit here. So, I was in a position while being seated where I could see. So, by the time it was late afternoon, we were put in the middle of the sea, as he said, beyond that safety marker or whatever. Now, I could see the big waves coming. So, I could just brace myself and, kind of hold tight. But the thing is, people like Kaushik, the two Kaushiks, Ganguly and Sen, Rahul, and Kanchan Mollik, they had their backs towards the waves. So what happened was, every time the big wave would come, they wouldn't know. So it is very hard to sort of topple Kaushik Ganguly, as you might imagine. I mean, it's kind of tough, right? So, but Kaushik Das chair would actually go like that, and he would be almost into the water, and you can imagine what must have happened with Kanjun, right? So when once I remember there was a big wave and we kind of just managed to, and we turn around and there was a Kanchon's chair was sort of floating in the water, and but where was Kanchon? He just lifted his head from underneath the water like, here I am. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of like grueling hard work as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Any more questions? There, I think someone. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. My question to you, sir, is
Which you?
Srijit, sir, is that we've always witnessed your cameos in your movies, and we've also witnessed such great cameos like Tarantino in his film Pulp Fiction. He was casted as Jimmy. So was there like an inspiration, or was there any idea to introduce this brand of the director's cameos into the movies, because we don't usually witness this in our industry?
We do actually, because there's this gentleman called Subhash Ghai
Yes, yes.
who used to do this. And much before Quentin, I think there was this guy called Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes, sir.
He also did this. So, but in my case, it's mostly been either the junior artist not turning up, or the person who actually comes is not being able to deliver the role, or budget constraints. So my cameos are mostly circumstantial and they are not generally planned.
Right.
So that's how it's more like a troubleshooting more than anything else.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I think we have just time for one more question. So, anyone from this side? Oh, we've got one.
Hello, good evening. I'm Shantanu Ghosh. I have a rather futuristic question to both of you, Param and Srijit. When you're speaking about commercial film, I must congratulate both of you for not commercializing commercial film, but making it so popular. People are going to the halls. But we have drifted this discussion from art film to commercial film. Art film is a misnomer, whether art film, alternative film, or whatever, middle level. So my question is to both Srijit and Param. Do you have in mind, I know there is no Bibhuti Bhushan, Sunil Gangopadhyay or Manik Bandyopadhyay, any script which you want to make as an art film, and who do you think you put to, like Godar had Jean-Paul Belmondo, Ray had Soumitra Chatterjee, is Srijit Parambrata, and vice versa. Param does a film, who there is Srijit.
No, what was the question?
Question is, do you have in mind in future, see, Bengal, the genre of film Bengal is known is Ray, Medal Sayan, up to the porno. I was very impressed by your autograph, but I personally feel we had a whole night discussion. You just,
yeah, the question.
Question is, do you have in mind any particular script which is a pure art film, the genre Bengal is known for, and who would you cast in it?
Acha. So I actually, 2010 onwards, the thing which actually happened is this phrase art film, it became very, very blurry because there wasn't anything which was pure art or pure commercial. So the middle of the road is one phrase, parallel is another that we use. Uh, so my kind of cinema actually doesn't adhere to any, such terminology, and which is what makes it, I think, unique to a certain extent. And so all my future scripts, every script that I have, has to varying degrees an element of art, but also an element of populism, if that is one way of defining it. And I do not have anyone specific in mind because for that I'll have to actually start prepping for that film, reading the script, and then imagining. Because I do not imagine actors and write scripts. I first write scripts and then try and see that whose face or whose style of acting or whose body language or whose range as an actor can pull off this particular character. So while I have many, for my film Loho Gaurange Namre, which is a kind of a biopic of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's also an ensemble which is various kinds of characters. It has, it has a director, it has a superstar, it has Noti Binodini's character, it has Girish Ghosh's character. So any script that I kind of write, I first have to get into that prepping zone, mental zone, and then see and take up each character and then match. But of course, needless to say, Param will always be my Rahul Dravid. So even in the casting of that, if I'm in a spot of bother, I will call him.
I don't want to make any art film. Whatever I want to make going forward, I want them to be very successful and in whatever form. I don't even know what this term means. Classically, contemporarily, I don't know what this term means. Really, I don't. I have, I've been raised in an atmosphere where we were talking international cinema, which Shantanoda might know already about. And my parents never told me that these were art films. I mean, I knew that they were just films, strictly speaking. I think I was one of those very unfortunate or very fortunate 5-year-olds who actually watched Raul Ruiz's Survival at the age of 5. But I was never told that this is an art film. So I want to make films, I want to make series which are watched by people, many people. But while being very aware that every little thing that we make has its own audience. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, when I've made Nikosh Chaya, which is a supernatural horror series, the kind of viewership it has received, a film like Eirat Tomaramar, which is a chamber drama about an elderly couple, might not find the same number of audience, but it needs to find the right audience. A quick analogy can be from the shelves in a supermarket. I'm saying, a Lux will have X number of buyers. A Lifebuoy will obviously have 10 times the number of buyers, right? So I just want, whatever we make, I just want those things to find the right kind of audience, irrespective of whether they are art house films, whether parallel, middle of the road. What we do is a celebration of art, crafts and science, everything at once. So yeah, I think we would like to continue with that celebration in every sphere of our lives and career.
With this, we come to the end of this discussion, and now it's time for felicitation. So, Sandhya, please do come and invite.
Thank you so much, Srijit and Parambrata, for this wonderful session. I could see the audience continuously raising their phones and clicking pictures. So I must say that all 4 of you were literally very charming on stage today. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Now I would like to call on stage Professor Dilip Shah, Rector and Dean of Student Affairs from the Bhawanipur Education Society College, for a brief bouquet presentation to both our celebrities today.
But Vidya Balan is a class apart, whatever she does.
So, what does Sigma mean?
What?
Arey, Gen Z doesn't know. You're asking me skibidi.
Gibberish.
The problem is we